And welcome back to the crypt, everyone. It is your host Burton here tonight. Doing a solo episode. God, I cannot wait to fucking get some more shit set up because, especially when I'm doing these solo ones and shit, like you gotta fucking kind of get a little. You gotta find your way to get your heart going and get yourself hyped up a little bit before the show, and fucking to get moving. You know what I mean? It's a little nerve wracking to just sit down on a microphone by yourself and talk. So I'm just sitting here blasting fucking Maiden, Priest, Ozzy, Dio, Lamb of God, Parkway Drive, Devil Drive. Oh my God. Woo! That was fucking fantastic. Holy shit. So how are you doing tonight, my friends? I hope everyone is well. Everyone listening? I hope you are all doing nothing but good. And yeah, so I want to start tonight by talking a little bit about this cattle decap review that I got coming. It's still coming. And those of you who maybe have heard me talk about it before know, I sometimes it's different. It's different for every album. Sometimes I can fucking listen to it for a week straight and be good and have something, be good enough with it to do a review. And sometimes... But to me, like, how I digest an album is I listen to it a bunch when I first get it, and then for like a couple weeks straight, and then I put it down for a while. Maybe even like a month straight, and then I put it down for a while. And then who knows how long, but after a certain amount of time, I'll come back to it, and then really start to get like... what I would say the real feel for it, you know what I'm saying, on that second time around with it. After you've had it, then you've had some palate cleansers, then you come back to it. And that's ended up what I was going to put the review out earlier, but that ended up being kind of what I did with this album because it is so giant and so fucking complex and so unlike anything else that I've really heard before. And it's been a very long time since I've been able to say that about any album that I new release or anything. So I'm excited to get to it, and I've been absolutely obsessed with the album. So I just wanted to mention, if anybody, I doubt it, but if anybody's waiting around for that review, it is coming. I'm just taking my time with this one because it's a big one. It's a big album, and I think it's an important album, and I want to get it right, you know what I mean? But yeah, so I kind of wanted to just start off by like quick mentioning that. And anybody who listened to the last episode knows that Aaron and I probably aren't going to do an album of the decade list anymore. That's just, because we were like, well, the decade isn't really 09 to 19. It's 2010 to 2020. Like that's the, or at least, I don't know. I don't know how you look at it. It's weird. I look at it as like 10 to 9, I guess. 2010 to 2019. Those were the 2010s. You know what I mean? That's what they were. So I guess we could do it. I don't know. Probably not gonna. But anyway, next thing, and here, let's just get this ready. Right here. All right, everybody. This is a... We've had some news this week, haven't we? We have already talked. When Aaron was on last, of course. God damn this microphone. Sorry. When Aaron was on last, everybody knows Aaron's a drummer for the band Balgraith. Shout out Balgraith. When Neil Peart passed away, it certainly had an effect on him. We talked about that last time he was on. Now, luckily, we don't have any deaths to report on, but our Lord and Savior, the Prince of fucking Darkness himself, Ozzy Osbourne, has announced that he's been diagnosed with like type 2 Parkinson's disease or something like that. I know it's not just regular. They're not calling it. It's like they keep saying a type of Parkinson's. So maybe not standard. I don't know what that means. I don't know what the different types of Parkinson's are. But man, when I woke up, grabbed my phone one morning and saw that, and fucking immediately there was a lump in my throat. Like, no, fucking, oh, that one So here, let's take a drink to the Prince of fucking Darkness himself. Ozzy Osbourne. We love you, Ozzy. You are the greatest. I've been on a huge Ozzy kick lately, too, with these new tracks that he's releasing, that Ordinary Man song with Alec John / Duff and Chad Smith. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, that's like a... What? Like, that's... Holy shit. And for it to sound that incredible, and, I really cannot wait for his new album. I'm really excited about it, honestly. I like the first 3 tracks off it, which is kind of insane. Yeah, so, oh, man. Okay, so let's take this drink real quick. Let's take this drink. Here we go. To the Prince of Darkness, Mr. Ozzy Osbourne. We love you! Woo! Woo! Old number 7, kicking tonight. Kicking. It's cold up here in Michigan. We got to warm up with something. First time I ever saw Ozzy Osbourne. 2007. Ozfest. That was the last year, for those of you who remember, that Ozfest toured North America. There have been Ozfests since, but they were usually just one-off or weekend dates or Not Fest meets Ozfest, this, that sort of things. It has, since 2007, there has not been a full-on touring Ozfest, as up to 2007 we came to know. That last Ozfest was free too, for anybody else who remembers. It was like you could get like a fuck ton of free tickets from from buying Pepsi or something. I don't remember what it was. It was something like that though. Like I remember going to the store to buy something so we could get Ozfest tickets. Fucking insane. Fucking insane. We had 3 carloads of kids. It was, to this day, one of my top 3 concerts of all time. It was one of my first concerts. I started going to shows in 2005, and I wasn't hitting them hard. I was only 15, so I wasn't hitting them. I couldn't drive yet. You know what I mean? But 2007 on is really when it started to hit. 2007 8 is when we really started to hit them, and it started with that Ozfest and. Good fucking Lord. I just remember, because at that point in time, it's 2007. I've been listening to heavy metal at this point for 6-7 years, listening to it, playing it, starting bands, this and that. I grew at that point. I'd grown up with VH1, so all the metal countdown shows, all the fucking music videos, and of course on MTV we had the Osbournes. So I knew Ozzy from that, loved Ozzy from that, and but that was always the thing. Like, how can this guy, Ozzy Osbourne, how, like he kind of talked in a way that nobody could understand, but yet when I saw him perform live, it was fucking perfect. Like, he sounded incredible. He was all over the place. He was running back and forth. He had more energy than some of the younger bands I had seen earlier that day. And seeing him that night in 2007 cemented him for me as forever the Godfather, the Prince of Darkness. And then that coinciding with having watched a number of documentaries, and I believe including, I think they talked about it in the Headbanger's Journey when they were talking to Tony Iommi about basically the formation of Sabbath and how they were, the devil tone and the tritone and how they were the first kind of band to like try to use music to scare people, because across from their like practice space or recording space or something, there was a movie theater, and they always noticed that when there was a horror movie, the lines would be way longer than for everything else. So they're like, well, let's try to do that with music. Genius. And that's ultimately, for me, for my money, that's the birthplace of heavy metal. Of course, there are precursors to point to, to note. You know, of course, there is, you know, Led Zeppelin and Deep Purple and, you know, you could say Alice Cooper and MC5 and, you know, Creedence, I guess. So not Creedence, but who was I thinking of? Not Creedence. Who was I thinking of? Fuck, I don't know. But yeah, you know, Cream. There we go. Tons of fucking precursors, of course. That sometimes a lot of people point to Deep Purple as the first metal, this and that. For me though, it was Sabbath, but the first one to wear the flag, to wave the flag, was Priest. Yeah. So, but yeah, seeing Ozzy that night, I've seen him many times since. It's 2000. Last time I saw Ozzy was 2018, and he still was unfucking believable. We had gotten to the show a little bit late. Stone Sour was opening. We caught like the last 3 songs of Stone Sour. Pretty cool to see Corey Taylor, you know. And then I remember getting a spot up on the top of the hill at Pine Knob, and I was there with a couple guys, and I left them up at the top of the hill, ran down to the bottom hill because I knew the line would be short and I needed a T-shirt. Grabbed a T-shirt. As I was getting the T-shirt, I heard the opening riff to Bark at the Moon, and I fucking booked it back up those stairs. Oh my God. Like, instantly just sounded absolutely incredible. So fucking good. Zakk Wylde, probably the best time, like, because Zakk, you know, he's got a pretty unique way of playing, and I'm not always a fan of when live he plays the Ozzy songs and adds that little wing, that thing that you know what I mean? Like, I dig it, but I don't always like to hear it. This time he kind of played it a little bit more straight. He didn't really add that flavor to it, but his solo was incredible, like out of this world. He was walking around in the crowd doing the solo. It was unreal. No doubt Ozzy is still a master live, and I do hope I get to see him again. I will never, ever miss an Ozzy show. It is, oh man, I remember the day, I remember exactly where I was and what I was doing the day I found out that Dio died. And it hit me real hard. And I remember thinking, God, like if this is what it is for Dio, the day Ozzy dies, I'm just going to go into a cave. There will be no light. I'm going to light candles. I'm going to have lots of weed and alcohol. And I'm just going to sit there and listen to Ozzy by myself until I'm ready to see the sunlight again. Like, that's what it's going to be, because I don't know what a world without Ozzy looks like. Man. So I do hope to get to see him again. We wish the Prince of Darkness nothing but well, of course. And I just hope he gets better, and we all get to see him again, and I cannot wait for this new album. I'm unbelievably excited for the new album, especially based on the 3 tracks that I've already heard. Holy shit. Unreal that new shit sounds that good. Like, oh man. I do want to give a shout out right now. Hold on one second. There we go. I do want to give a shout out right now to Let There Be Talk, the Dean Del Rey podcast. Man, this guy is like, first of all, my introduction to him. Hold on one second. I'm sorry, I keep interrupting myself here. I gotta fucking, here we go. Get this fucking shit started. So, I see him. I'm already fairly familiar with him from hearing him on Justice podcast, the Justice Show, and of course the Church of What's Happening Now with Joey Coco Diaz. And honestly, those were the episodes. Those were kind of the bridge episodes for me to get into Dean Del Rey's podcast. It was like while he was on those 2 other podcasts, I heard him heard them talk about how they were on his. And I was like, oh, I'll go listen to those episodes. And then in looking for those episodes, I saw what caliber of fucking guests this guy had. And he was getting people that I'd never heard of being on any podcast. And B, guys I always wanted to hear on a podcast, but didn't know I had always of course I'd love to hear that, but I'd never thought about it just because, like, honestly, like, metal people, there's not that many podcasts that I've found in the metal world, to be honest. There are some, but honestly, the Justice Show is about top tier as it gets, in my opinion. It's about as good as it gets, and it's brilliant. I love it. I listen to every episode. But that's about what it is in terms of metal podcasts. And then I find this Dean Del Rey. And then I go to see him. So I heard a few episodes. And then I go to see him open for Joey Coco Diaz down at the Motor City Casino in Detroit back in November. I fucking, I'm not very good at updating my personal accounts very much. And that's kind of because the podcast account has become more of a personal account for me. Because it's just where everything I love is. That's what all this is. It's just me. It's just creating a place for everything that I fucking like, and maybe other people like it too. The things that I'm into, you know what I mean? Guitars, fucking motorcycles, fucking leather jackets, fucking chains, and fucking metal, and fucking comic books, and movies, and TV shows, and fucking, we're just fans over here. And shit. So yeah, like I fucking go to the show to see him, and I use the Lost in the Dark podcast account to like post about the show and the story, and he shares it on his account. I was like, oh wow, every once in a while that's happened with someone pretty, notable. You know what I mean? And it's always like kind of like a holy shit. You know what I mean? Like I'm literally sitting here recording this in a fucking basement right now, and yet somehow I'm able to reach, people at that level, and that's and they're noticing, and they're like, hey, giving me a little head nod back. You know what I'm saying? That's like, whoa, like it's crazy. It's crazy. And so since then. And I do this all the time with other podcasts. If I hear a great episode of something, I'm sharing it on the Instagram just because I want other people. Like, that's what all this is. I'm just trying to share the things that I love and enjoy. And podcasts are one of those things for sure. That's what inspired me to start mine. So Dean Del Rey has recently he's been doing January is Thrash January, and the whole month is on his podcast is a tribute to the Bay Area thrash metal scene in the 80s, which is where thrash metal was born. The likes of Slayer, Metallica, Anthrax, Megadeth, the Big Four, of course, Exodus, Death Angel, many more. So he'd already had on calibers of guests like fucking, the one that I've been thinking about all day that I keep going back to in my head is Sebastian Bach, because it blew me away on a level that I can't even describe to you. He got Sebastian to tell a story on his podcast that blew me away because, man, all right, fuck it, I'll go into it. So in 2006 or 7, Guns N' Roses starts coming back. It's pretty much just Axl though. And then 8, I believe 08 is when Chinese Democracy comes. And then they start going on big tours and hitting the Download Festival and stuff like that. I can't remember if it was Download 07 or 8 where they played and had Sebastian Bach opening for them. And Sebastian Bach would come out and sing My Michelle. At this point in time, Appetite for Destruction is bigger in my life than ever. And My Michelle, of course, one of the best tracks on the album. And the video of Bach and Axl singing it together fucking blew me away. I watched that fucking thing over and over and hundreds of times. And there's a little the video starts with a little video clip of Sebastian Bach being interviewed about Guns N' Roses coming back. And he's like, one day I'm sitting there on the couch and I get a fucking text message. It's hey, what up, Baz? It's fucking Axl. And I'm go, oh yeah, right, yeah, it's fucking it's Axl. So I hit call sender. You know, that's my best Axl or Sebastian voice. And he pick up the phone and I'm looking at the TV and I just go, he's back. So like it was like this little fucking story intro to the song, and then the song kind of the live video kicks in and it's Axl going, I'd like to welcome my friend to the stage, Mr. Sebastian Bach. And fucking he comes out, what up, Donington? He comes out and fucking screams and it's amazing. And they go into the song and it's incredible. Dean, I'm sure, never saw that video or was aware of any of that. But he got Sebastian to basically tell that exact story about getting hit up by Axl for them coming back and everything on the podcast. And it just, like, I started to shake. It was gave me goosebumps to actually like hear that on a podcast. I don't know. I can't explain it to you because of how much that video meant to me at that point in time and stuff. So, which included that story, which is so crazy. That's something that would never have existed without YouTube. That's only exists because that would have never been on television or anything. It only exists because of YouTube. So, huge fan of the podcast already. And then Dean Del Rey starts doing this thrash January. And my God, the people he's had, I didn't know that Dean Del Rey literally was a part of that scene, knew most of these people, grew up in all of that. Like, so to hear him talk about anyone, but especially him talk about it from that perspective as just a fan being a part of all of it, it's incredible. And today he had on Kirk Hammett, and I shared it. It was incredible. It's an unbelievable episode, to the point where I honestly think this podcast, I really believe this should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Like the things that he's getting are unheard of anywhere else, and it's another level. It's another fucking level. And I really think it's important, and I really think it's about to, I don't know, catch or something, because it's something else. It really is. So I highly recommend. So I just wanted to give him a shout out, because pretty much every time I fucking share his thing, he shares it. He shares, he reshares the story post or whatever. And that's crazy. Like, this guy that I sat down with, like, literal, like, people I fucking have seen on stage. You know what I mean? People I would fucking, I don't even know if I'd be able to compose myself if I got to shake their hands. You know what I'm saying? And here he is talking to all of them and then sharing our stuff. It's just, like, I don't know. Crazy. So I just want to give that a shout out and let everybody know that listens to this. You should definitely be checking that out, because it is special. And if you're into this music, it's important. I think it's an important podcast, because he's getting people that I've never heard on any other podcast ever. Never heard any of these people sat down and talk unfiltered for an hour to 2 hours plus. You know what I'm saying? Like, never. And I don't know if you'll hear it ever again anywhere else. You know what I mean? Like, it's really crazy. All right. So I wanted to mention that. We're moving on. Next thing I want to talk about is something we don't usually talk about, because this is a metal podcast, and for this past year we really got into this thing, and we were really focused on new metal releases. We kind of spent all year on our album of the year list, and like, kind of all year, like, keeping an eye out, always being up to date on the newest releases and all that stuff. in the world of heavy metal. So as a result, I've taken the year off from any other form of music, really. Like, and that's kind of, where this whole podcast started in a big bad way. Was like I would say that right before I started, the year leading up to when I started this podcast, I was not less into metal than ever, but more into other stuff than ever. But I also felt not good about it. Like, I didn't feel like myself. It wasn't, I don't know. It was unintentional. It was just like I was just kind of moving away from it little by little over time, and I didn't notice it. And then, being influenced by other things and people and the people you're around and the things they like and listen to. All right, yeah, I guess I can. You know what I mean? Like, things like that. And when, but the fucking, then one, lots of shit. Then I literally got to a point where it was like, fucking got dumped, had to move out of the apartment, had moved back home with the parents, but then I got a microphone. Lost the job all in 1 year. Lost the job that I loved, girlfriend, an apartment, all in 1 year. And then I got a microphone for Christmas. And one of my favorite sayings from the movie Escanaba into Moonlight, one of my favorite sayings of all time, and it's something that rings in my ears sometimes on a daily basis. If you don't know where to start, go back to the beginning. If you don't know where to start, then go back to the beginning. So that's what I did. I just reset. I was like, well, the beginning for me was heavy metal. Let's go back to that. And in a sense, in a big bad way, this podcast has followed me for the last 2 years in doing that, getting more into it than I've ever been in my entire life. And as a result, I've been less into other things. I'm not as up to date on what's going on in fucking any other genre of music at all. Period. No idea what's being played on the fucking radio right now. No idea what's being, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what's popular. You know what I mean? I know some names, but that's about it. I've never heard any of the music that I'm aware of, at least. So, but there are certain artists who, to me, are like, they are just like bands. There are other artists who I am a lifer with. I love them so much that no matter what, I'm always going to be up to date on them. And and these are also artists who, and this is something that I think more people should start doing personally. And these are artists who I am interested in following their entire career. While, yes, their early stuff might be my favorite stuff by them, I don't want them to stay that. I don't want any artist to stay where I found them and fell in love with them. And yeah, that's great music and will always be my favorite by you. But that doesn't mean it's the best that they'll ever do. I'm able to separate what my sentimental favorite is versus what I genuinely think is the best musical effort they've ever done. Like, technically speaking, more so. You know what I'm saying? So I'm able to separate those two things. And I'm also not a fan who only wants to hear the same exact thing over and over. Sometimes, in some cases, yeah. But not in the case of a band like, one example for a band would be Lamb of God. I will never not listen to Lamb of God no matter what they do. Like, they I'm a lifer for them. Like, I want to hear the entire evolution of their entire career as it spans through time. And that's what I intend. You know what I mean? That's where I'm going. I am the same way with Eminem. I found Eminem before I even found metal. I was into Eminem before I was into metal. And I will never forget the first time I saw some of his music videos on MTV from the Eminem Show album. And I have followed his career, and yeah, you know, I've got my favorite stuff by him, as everybody else does. There's some stuff he's released that, you know, I thought was okay, but not like great. And then pretty much everything else is like, I like it. But I'm a lifer with him. I'm going to listen to every release, everything he ever releases ever, because I love him as an artist so much that I want to continue hearing everything that he does. And once again, Marshall Mathers drops us a surprise album in the middle of the night. This is why I stay up late, people. You never know what's going to happen after midnight. And sometimes, at least twice in the last few years, Eminem has dropped a secret album. Holy shit! Like, holy shit. Music to be Murdered By is the name of this one. And I haven't I ordered it, the hard copy, as you people know. I get the hard copies. I'm staring at my fucking 6, 7, 8 boxes of CDs right now. So it's coming, but I do have the digital. I need to find a way to get the digital copy on my phone so I can listen to it in my car. I haven't listened to it at its full potential yet on the good speakers, which is big. It matters, in my opinion. It matters a lot more for rap than it does metal. Like, I can hear a metal song on pretty shitty speakers or headphones and still like it. Whereas if I hear a rap song on pretty shitty speakers or headphones, I might not like it, but then I'll hear it on a good system and I'll like it a lot and be like, holy shit. You know, it'll blow. So to me, that matters a lot. I need to hear it on a much better system. Having said that, I still like it. I still like pretty much everything I've heard. One of the things I love about the secret album idea, do you see what he's doing? Like, I don't know if this is all, it's not, and I'm not an expert, but to me, it seems like this would be much more freeing, because now you no longer have to worry about promotion. You no longer have to worry about commercials or advertisements. You no longer have to worry about singles or things to put on the radio. They'll find it themselves. Like, you no longer have to, you no longer at that point have like a record company telling you, oh, we want you to put this person on a track because they're our new hot artist right now and they should be on your new single. None of that's happening if you're releasing a secret album, because the whole album comes out at once. There are no singles. You can do pretty much whatever you want if you do it like this. And no one can say dick because you just dropped an album. So I don't know. Maybe that to me that seems like it could be a factor, and I think it's part of the reason why the other, what was the name of the other one that was secret? It was the one with like the Beastie Boys cover, I think. License to Shit. I liked it a lot. Here, I got it right here. Hold on one second. Let me see. I literally have every single fucking album and feature. Yeah. Close. Yeah. Because is that the one with? Oh wait. Shit. I don't know. I think I'm right about that. But I don't know. Anyway, whatever it was really, really good. And this one was really, really good too. I need to listen to it more in depth. Only heard it like a couple times so far. And again, on like not so great system. But I am excited to hear more of it. And yeah, I love him as an artist. I always have. He's one of the few non-metal artists who I follow like that. Yeah, so I just kind of wanted to talk about that. I love it when he drops these secret albums. It makes me so happy. Makes me so happy every time. And he's got a song on there called Godzilla. Are you fucking kidding me? Take my money now. Shut up and take my money at that point. Like, as soon as you put a song on an album called Godzilla, I'm in. Awesome. So I was just, it just made me happy. It made me excited. It gave me, I guess you could say what did I do? A bit of a palate cleanser, since listening to so much Cattle Decapitation and the new Josta record. Oh, shit. I guess you could say it gave me a bit of a good palate cleanser, something to, a little different for the eardrums, to get used to for a minute, and then to go back into Cattle Decap with some fresh ears on it, and finish out this review. I've spent more time on that review than any other. I've done like 4 lyric listen-throughs, tops to bottom. 4 lyric listen-throughs, top to bottom. Sorry. Taking notes on every single time. And I still don't feel like I'm done. Like, it's so much and so fucking good. Anyway. So yeah, that's I just kind of wanted to talk about the new Eminem because it made me excited and happy. Next up, so anyone who listened to the last episode, we briefly talked about how a friend of mine approached me, and well, not exactly. A friend of mine told me a couple months back that he got a really good deal on this old farmhouse to rent. It's on like a few acres of land. It's real big and not that expensive. He's friends with the person that owns it or whatever, and this and that. It's like, oh man, that's awesome. You should have everybody out for a fucking bonfire this summer or something. He's like, oh, definitely, bro. We're gonna have a party at this place for sure. I was like, fuck yeah. Saw him. That was back probably September, October. Saw him in the beginning of December. I was like, man, what's up? How's the house? It's like, fucking, I moved the fuck out of there. I was like, really? Why? What? It was that bad? And he's like, dude, that place is haunted as fuck. I went, are you serious? He's like, yeah. Now, keep in mind, this is a guy I would never, ever, 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 ever have expected this from. This is a guy who has dealt with very real life, very scary situations in Flint, Michigan. Let your imagination run wild. Yeah. Like, that's what, like, this guy has dealt with real shit. Ain't no fucking way he's gonna tell me a ghost, this place is too haunted for me, unless there's something really going on. Okay? That's what it really caught me off guard. I was like, so do you still live there? Like, what's going on? He's like, no, at the end of this month, meaning December, I'm gonna tell her I'm gonna move out. Okay. So he tells her, and she's like, all right, well, you got to the end of January to move out. So that essentially gave me and Josh till the end of January to get in there and do an investigation. Which is insane for us, because these types of opportunities basically never come up for us. This is extremely rare. And it's only because I asked him that day that I saw him, hey, how's the house? Because I happen to remember And we were going to go last Saturday, like we said on the podcast last week. We weren't able to go last Saturday because there was a winter storm. And this place is literally out in the middle of butt-fuck nowhere. So, yeah, the roads out there would not have been achievable by either Josh or I's cars. Neither of us have like a 4-wheel drive truck or anything. We don't drive cars like that, at least at the moment. So, we rescheduled to this Saturday, which as of the time of recording this is the day after tomorrow. It's 7:53 p.m. on Thursday night right now. And so he told me, here, I'll tell you, and what I'm going to try to do, I've got, now those of you that have listened to the show, especially the Halloween episode, the first episode Josh finally appeared on, we talked about some of our experiences and how we go to haunted locations and get locked in overnight and do our investigating. So from doing that, pardon me, we have some equipment and stuff like that. So I got all that ready before we called it last weekend. So all that's so good to go. But like this is a very rare opportunity for us, and something that we're pretty excited about, to be honest. So according to Ben, that's what I was gonna say. What I'm planning on doing is actually creating a little video, maybe 10, 15 minutes long or so, of this investigation. I'm bringing all of my equipment. I am also going to bring all of the podcasting equipment, because the way I see it, all this podcasting equipment is a giant voice recorder. So, and that's something that's commonly used during paranormal investigations. So why not do a podcast during the investigation? Like for like a quick hour in the middle of it, maybe around midnight or so, we'll turn all this shit on, sit down, talk for an hour, get up and let it keep recording. See what happens. So yeah, that's kind of the plan, and put together a little 10-minute video or so of the investigation to release along with that podcast, which will feature Ben, hopefully, if I could get him to do it. On Ben being the first name of my friend who is moving out of this house and allowing us to come in. He said he did some research on his own, and he'll say a lot more of this on the video, I hope. But I wanted to go over some of it now. When the property was originally purchased in the 1800s, it was a chunk of land that was a part of a 57-acre parcel of land that was originally owned for experimental drilling. He said he can only go back as far as the town is old, which is right around the very beginning of the 1800s. The property has only been owned by 4 different families, and the family who he's renting it from purchased it in 1957, he believes. The weird part is the family prior to the one who he's renting it from held it for a long time, pre-turn of the century. And that's who he thinks the ghost is haunting the house. He was able to find quite a bit of research that I'm gonna need to do myself, but some of his damn it, I guess I didn't save those ones. Some of the things he has said has happened have been things like seeing shadow figures. His kid says that there's something evil in the basement. His kid refuses to go back in the house. There was one night where he was sitting there and he felt like someone was watching him from the doorway of the kitchen while he was sitting there watching TV. So he just stayed there and fell asleep in the chair and woke up, and he was watching Xbox. And he woke up with that, and the Xbox was paused. Now that's kind of interesting to me, because I don't know about anybody else, but I fall asleep with the Xbox on The Office on Netflix every night for the past like 4 years. I'm not even fucking with you. It's my routine. It's what I do. So every time I've woken up, it has I've never, ever, ever seen an Xbox pause itself. And I have 2 different ones. Literally 2 different Xbox Ones. Neither of them have ever done that. So that's kind of interesting to me. He said one time he got in the house, he went in to take a shower, he checked the thermostat, it was like 69, 70 degrees or something. He comes out of the shower, he's like, it was nice and toasty. Then I come out of the shower, the windows are literally frosted and the thermostat says 57. He said that the former tenant person living in the house, they had come out of the shower once and saw like the shadow figure standing there. And the craziest thing that he said probably was he had his gun in a cabinet and he heard it go off. And when he went to check it, he picked up the shell and the shell was ice cold. And there was no... He said, I never leave anything in the chamber, first of all. A. And B, there was no exit hole. He's like, there's literally the bullet went nowhere. There was no bullet to be found. Like, there was no hole, nothing. Like, I cannot figure out where that bullet would have gone. There's nowhere it could have gone. So yeah, those are just some of the stories that he's told me already, and I hope to get him to tell us more on the video, maybe even have him on the podcast a little bit. We'll see what happens, what ends up happening that day. But so yeah. That's taking place here in a couple of days, and then we'll get all that stuff out next week. So that's pretty exciting. I'm looking forward to that for sure. You know, and you know what? I should have started by saying this. I say it all the time. When it comes to this stuff for me personally, and once we get a little bit more of a stable setup here in my new location, if any of you check our Instagram right now, or around the time that this is being released in the next 24 hours, I just posted a video of myself right before I recorded. You can see I'm not in the normal crypt. I'm not surrounded by my t-shirts and all that stuff. Once we get a normal location, like situation here, and I get all that more set up and I get more settled in where I'm going to be doing this podcast, fucking God damn it. I completely forgot why I started saying that. This is my fault. I'm so sorry. Holy shit. Ha! That's what happens, people. Sometimes that's what happens. Talking for fucking 50 minutes, almost an hour now. Forgot one thing. That's okay. So far, I feel like I've been doing pretty good. But yeah, so we're excited about the haunting. We're excited about being able to go. Oh, yeah. Once that's where I was going. So I don't have it all set up now normally as I'd like. But once I do have it set up, you will see a poster that says I want to believe on it. And that's always where I'm coming from with this stuff. When it comes to the paranormal, I want to believe. I personally, and for me personally as an individual, I need to see and feel to believe. So, and while I've had some experiences that I cannot explain, I haven't had any that make me go, yup, without question, that's real. You know what I'm saying? So, but I also view these as mysteries. I view these as some of the last mysteries that science has yet to really be able to confirm or deny. Not some of the last, but some of the most prevalent of our time. Because it's such a weird thing. We're so technologically advanced. We think we are, at least. But yet, so much of like the old ways, like ghosts and vampires and werewolves and mermaids and krakens and all of these myths and lores and legends, they still seem to be somewhat prevalent even in 2020. I find that so deeply fascinating and so cool and so like, yeah, like what if we do live in a world where monsters are real? Like, wouldn't you want to know? And I'm not talking about, of course, monsters are real. I'm not talking about the human monsters that exist, and they are very real. And I'm not trying to underscore that in any way, shape, or form. But I don't know. Maybe it's just the 15-year-old in me. But it's something I'm never going to let go. That's for damn sure. And it's something that's cool and fascinating enough for me to actually put forth the effort and go out and try to have some of these experiences firsthand, put myself in places where it could happen and see what happens. You know what I mean? Like, so far, number one thing that I've learned is that I can literally be sitting in an abandoned insane asylum in the attic in pitch black to the point where I cannot see the hand in front of my face. Wait for it. During a fucking thunderstorm. I have done that. Sat alone in the pitch black in the attic of an abandoned insane asylum during a thunderstorm. If there was ever a time I was going to see something, it would have been then. And not only did I not see anything, I never once felt nervous, scared, uncomfortable. I felt like I was sitting in my room in the dark. No different. And that is extremely valuable information to me. The fact that I can be in that top of the top scary movie situation and feel absolutely normal. Like, I'm perfectly fine, right? You want to smoke a joint? You know what I mean? Like, let's have a drink. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel completely normal. I'm fine. Nothing. You know what I'm saying? Let's do a podcast. You know what I'm saying? Like, nothing. Normal. Pff, squat. That tells me that if I'm ever in a situation and I actually feel something crazy might be going on. You know what I'm saying? Because I've been in the craziest of situations that one can muster up and been completely fine. And that is extremely valuable information to me. So, if nothing else, I've at least learned that. So, you know, if I go to this, and I've seen pictures of the inside of this house, there ain't nothing creepy about it. I mean, it's an old farmhouse, but it's been kept, it's fine, it's clean, it's livable, it's gorgeous. You know what I mean? Like, it's not fancy or anything. It's old, but it's fucking all there. You know what I mean? Like, there ain't nothing decrepit about it. So, if I feel something fucking crazy in a place like that, then maybe we're dealing with something. You know what I'm saying? Maybe. Maybe not. But maybe. And that's where I want to believe what comes in, and it's that maybe, that mystery that is attractive enough to me, makes me excited and interested enough since I've been a kid since the first time I saw fucking Ghostbusters or read Goosebumps or saw Are You Afraid of the Dark or Tales from the Crypt or Twilight Zone. You know what I mean? These were my introductions. And it just, you know, if I have an opportunity like this, I'm fucking gonna take it because that sounds fun to me. And on top of all that, I can get a podcast out of it and maybe even like a cool little video or something to go along with it. Fuck yeah. Run it. Let's do this. So we're doing it on Saturday. Really looking forward to it. I'll be sure to do a lot in the story on Instagram. So if you follow us on there, be sure to keep an eye out. You can come along on the journey. And yeah, it should be a pretty good time. Really looking forward to it. Shit. Yeah, I guess, I mean, that pretty much, I mean, that's pretty much all I had for you guys this episode, to be totally honest. So yeah, hopefully, basically, I know there's only one episode out this week. And I know it's on Friday, which is like, I don't know, supposedly the Cardinal Sin of podcast. I don't give a fuck anymore. I'm putting them out when I do them. And that's, that's just the way it is. Like, that's what it comes down to. You know what I mean? I will, just because I want to, again, I will be here in February. This January month was a little hectic. Here in February, I will be trying to get it a little bit more regular and more early in the week. 1 to 2, back to the 1 to 2 episode a week that we did most of last year kind of situation. We will be getting back to that, and hopefully even adding some features like video and for YouTube and a new podcast, those things like that. These are all in the works. These are all things where I am actively thinking about literally every day that I wake up. I'm not fucking with you guys. Like, this is a genuine passion project for me, and I think about this podcast every fucking day of my life. Every fucking day. And that's why I won't let a week go by without me sitting down at this microphone and talking to you guys, because that's what it is. It's hitting the bag. It's trying to be better. It's trying to be more honest. It's trying to be more open. It's taking everyone on the journey with me, as we improve and get better and we try to get more guests, and it's, but really I just started this with my friends, you know what I mean? Like, that's all this is. Just friends talking about shit that they love, and it's metal, and it's the paranormal, and movies, and the things that bring us together and bring us joy, art at the end of the day, experiences, concerts, travels, all these things. It's all just trying to talk about things that we love. And that's where it all fucking began. And that's, and that's kind of part, like, I've been talking about, like, during that time where I was kind of falling out of metal a little, not falling out of it, just getting into other stuff. I would always there were always those hooks in me. I'd still never wear a shirt that wasn't black. You know what I mean? Maybe it wasn't a metal shirt, but it was fucking black. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was always wearing jeans. I was always like, I always still had a lot of Taurus shirts. Like, it was still what I listened to on a regular basis, but maybe not every day. You know what I mean? Like, it just, so when I really, and now when I started to get back into it, it all set in motion. Everything I used to do, all the things that I stopped doing to be more, I don't know, the word I've always used was approachable. People always used to tell me, you're not very approachable. No one would ever come up to you and talk to you. You look too scary. You look too angry. You look too mean. Blah, 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 blah. When I'm the fucking nicest, someone comes up to me, I'll be the nicest guy ever. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I toned it down. You know what I mean? I stopped wearing the leather. I took the chains off the wallet. You know what I mean? I did these things to be more approachable according to others. And then I started this podcast. And then metal became more than anything else to me again. And then I turned 30. And now the leather is back on my back. The chains are back on my hip. And I feel better than ever. Like, I'm doing it, fuck it. Fuck approachability. Fuck it. Fuck doing anything for anybody else. Fuck doing anything in terms of how you live your daily life. Fuck determining how you look, how you act, and how you feel about things to be what you perceive may or may not, or what others may or may not perceive to be more socially acceptable or approachable or normal, or, this or that, or hireable, or this or that. You know what I'm saying? Fuck any of that conformity. That's what metal was to me in the beginning. It was the ultimate, oh my God, I found my tribe. You know what I mean? I finally found the tribe of people that feel the way I do about this shit. And when we put on the denim jeans, when we put on the black t-shirt, when we put on the black hoodie and the chain wallet and the belt buckle on the leather belt and the leather boots, and when we put on the fucking everything I just said. The hoodie, the leather jacket, the boots, the buckle, the denim, the fucking, or the cargo, the fucking band t-shirt with the tour dates on the fucking back because you were goddamn there, motherfucker. When we do that to us, to our subculture, for anyone that doesn't understand that might be listening to this, when we do that, it's a suit of armor. It's our uniform. It's how we identify ourselves to one another, not to any of you. We're not trying to look scary to you. We're not trying to look anything other than how we feel. Anything other than fucking metal. And it's not all angry. You may perceive it as that way, but it's not. It's the, when we're at the shows, we feel more alive and more joy than we feel anywhere else. 9 times out of 10, like, it's love to us. It's pure to us. It's joy to us. Like, it might sound angry to you, but to us, it's the fucking rockinest thing in the goddamn world. And that's what people don't get. That's the misconception. It just sounds too angry. Then you're not hearing it correctly. You don't feel it the way I feel it. It's not hitting you in the way that it was intended. It's not hitting you in the way that it made the artist. You know what I mean? So, man, like, that's just what it is. So it's this podcast. I'm taking you guys on the journey. I'm getting personal. That's what this podcast, And honestly, like, I hope it inspires other people to do better. Because you know what podcasts have done for me? From listening to Rogan, Kreischer, Segura, Shafir, Del Rey, Coco Diaz, and those are the comedian ones. Jeff Ross, his podcast, I can't remember the name of it right now. I listen to a lot of them, pretty much every single new one. I listen to the Justin Long podcast, Kevin Smith, all of Kevin Smith. Holy shit, of course, Kevin Smith. And Kevin Smith and Rogan are the big ones. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Honestly, I listened to Rogan for like 2 years. And then Kevin Smith had a heart attack. And now anybody else that listens to Rogan, he's always talking about health and losing weight and this and that and the other thing. And I listened to that for 2 fucking years. All right? Had no effect on me. And I was knocking on 300 pounds door. And then Kevin Smith had a heart attack. And he was a big boy too. And then I watched him lose weight so fast. But yet still kind of like he was still him. It was, I don't know what it was. Maybe it was the heart attack of someone that I felt. I listened to so many thousands of hours of him just talk up to that point, and it hit me so hard. And then I look at my family, and so many members of my family have had heart attacks. I don't know what it was. I can't tell you. I don't know. But there was something in that kicked me into gear, and I lost close to 150 pounds in the last year and a half. And it's these podcasts, it's these people, it's all this shit that got me off my fucking ass to do that. And then now it's these other podcasts, the Jasta and everything, getting me to the point in metal where it's like, fuck it all, man. Put the leather back on. Because when you're a metalhead, when you're a fucking metalhead, what you wear is important. It's a uniform. It's not a uniform, but it's like a coat of arms. Because it's not like uniform in the sense of you have to, uniform is like a requirement. That's not, no. It's not, no. You do, that's what metal is you do you. But there's this thing where metalheads, when you see one, when you look at one, you're, oh, I know what that is. You know what I'm saying? That's the guy wearing leather. That's the guy wearing chains or spikes or the band t-shirt with the tour dates on the back and the scary skulls and this and that. You know what I'm saying? That's the metalhead. And it's armor for us. It's, as Rob Zombie said in Metal A Headbanger's Journey, you never meet the guy that was, oh yeah, Slayer, yeah. Slayer, yeah. I was into them for one summer. No. I was into Slayer for one summer. No. That guy doesn't fucking exist. You know who exists? The guy that has Slayer carved into their arm with a knife. That's the guy that exists. And that's what metal is. We live it. We breathe it. It is an art form. And the fans, we embody the art form. Not in the sense of from the outside, from the outside perspective, you could see things like misogyny or, exclusion for, you could see it. If you don't get it, you could see it as exclusionary. Like, if you don't get it, you could be like, oh, they wouldn't want me. No. We want you. Unless you're a racist, fucking sexist piece of shit asshole. We want you. Okay? Like, unless you're not good, unless you're a serial killer or a fucking pedophile, we fucking want you. Okay? Like, if you're a fucking good, normal person, just a normal person, and you like this stuff, that's all that it is. Like, all, I don't know. That's all it is. To me, that's what it's always been, is the most, because from the people on the outside, so many of them look at it as exclusionary. And to me, when I found it, it was the first thing I ever found that felt inclusive. Inclusivary. I don't know what the fuck. You know what I mean? It's the first thing that accepted me. school, sports, clubs at the school, whatever. These things never accepted me. I tried them out. Trust me, my parents put me in all kinds of shit. Everyone just always teased me and made fun of me and you know what I mean? I was the fucking loser. I was the fucking guy that got made fun of. I was the one that fucking got pants that got fucking piss balloons and eggs thrown at and fucking fell in fucking hot tar at the playground and everybody laughed and you know what I'm saying? Like, I was that guy. Those are all real stories. 100%. And until I found metal. And then I felt like I found my tribe. And all I ever wanted to be was a nice guy. You know what I mean? So, and metal was the place where I could do that and feel it. So that's why it's more to us. That's why the metal genre, it has the most loyal fans of any other genre. And that's actually been fucking proven. There's been a few articles that's come out this year about that. Metal fans are the most loyal fans. We go back, we buy the albums, we listen to it more, we stream it more, this and that, then more times. We stick with it longer than anything else, any other genre. And it's because to us, it's just genuine, it's real, it's raw, and it's how we feel on a daily basis. It makes us feel on top of the world on a daily fucking basis. Makes us feel like we can conquer anything that comes up on a daily basis. And that's empowering to us. And it comes out in the way we dress and the way we look. And that's important to us. It's not a requirement, but it is a uniform. Like, when you dress metal, you know what you're doing. You know what the fuck you're doing. So, you know what, guys? It's fucking 2020. Why are we fucking around? It's 20. Be exactly what you want to be. Stop fucking around. There's no more time to fuck around. That's the way I felt, at least. There's no more time to fuck around. It's 2020. No more time. You're out. You're out of time now. It's 2020. You're out of time now. It's time to get rolling. And rolling in the direction you've always wanted to roll. On that note, I'm going to call this one. All right? So, here's to all of you. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Lost in the Dark podcast. My name is Burton. Be sure to support your local music and your local metal. It all starts with you in your local town. You don't know. The next fucking Maiden, the next Lamb of God, Devil Driver, Cannibal Corpse, anybody could be playing in your local bars right now. Go check them out. Pay the $5, $10 to go see a local fucking metal show of a bunch of bands you ain't never fucking heard of. And see what's out there. What's going on in your scene. And then tell me about it. Contact me. Comment on this on YouTube. Do it on fucking iTunes. Message us on Instagram, Facebook. Hit us up at lostinthedarkpodcast@gmail.com. I would fucking love to hear from any of you. Please, please, please hit me up. Turn me on to a band. Something. Anything. Your local band. Please. Anywhere that you're listening from. Here, we got Recorruptor. We got fucking Bog Wraith. Be sure to follow them on Bandcamp, Patreon, Twitch, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. YouTube, iTunes, Spotify. All of it, baby. They're everywhere. And they both got shit in the works. They both got shit coming. Please follow, again, Recorruptor and Bog Wraith. Support your local music. Support it. It all starts with you. And that's it, and that's that for me. All right, so be sure to do all that same stuff for us, but we're just on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and iTunes. I don't know where else we are. We're getting new podcast hosts soon, so hopefully we'll be more places soon, but mainly YouTube. Please check us out on YouTube if you hear this. That's the main place for everything. I upload everything directly there. So soon it'll be to a host, and it'll be to more places, and it'll be more episodes, and it'll be amazing. So it's all coming. I promise. But yeah, other than that, thank you all so fucking much for listening to this. I cannot thank you enough for liking and supporting this podcast in the past 2 years. It's meant beyond the world to me. Everything that's happened, I'm never going to stop. I don't want to stop. To quote Mr. Ozzy Osbourne, raise your fucking horns. Shout out to Ozzy, everybody. Send your fucking everything, positive vibes. Send your horns to our Prince of Darkness and Lord and Savior, Mr. Ozzy Osbourne. And that's it. That's that. We'll be back again. I'll be back again next week, no matter what, motherfuckers. You know it. You fucking know it. I'll be back and talking to you all again. So raise your fucking horns. Bang your heads. I love you all to death. Good night.